Welcome to K9 Sniffers Scent Work Webinar. This webinar is for those of you who are new to online dog training and may be wondering, especially in this time of the pandemic, how I can get my dog involved in scent work or continue with my current training. By the end of the webinar, our goal is to provide you with meaningful information about scent work. What the incredible dog nose can do. What scent work is all about, and how you can train your dog from the comfort of your own home. We are going to talk about what's involved in participating in an online class, what supplies you will need, and most importantly, your time commitment. I would like you to keep your mics muted during the presentation. I will take questions during the Q&A. At the end of the webinar, I will have a raffle drawing for 2 K9 Sniffer t-shirts, but you must be present to win. Please welcome your host, Steve Betcher.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to my second webinar on online scent work training. The goal of this webinar is to show you how online canine scent work training works and how you can benefit for you and your dog at this time of the pandemic. Online training is a viable option when you can't have a trainer or classes available to you. Online classes can be done in the safety of your home, and you can do your training assignments on your schedule. Online training can also benefit those of you who have reactive or fearful dogs. Online classes can help these dogs build a foundation in a safe environment so that later you can move to a class with more confidence and less anxiety. First, I would like to take a poll of the audience to get a sense of where, what your experience is and, how much training you have done. So let me start the poll. And are you currently taking an in-person scent work class or private instruction? 96% of you know, okay. And why are you interested in an online scent work training? 67% COVID, convenience 42%, no classes available 42%, and travel 4%. And are you ready to sign up for a class today? Maybe 75%, and yes, 21%. All right, well, that gives me a good idea. So let's start. Let's move on. So today, these are the topics that I'm going to talk about. In the introduction, I'm going to talk about my scent work experience. I'm going to talk about the dog's incredible nose and what it can do. There is no instrument that has been designed today that can actually duplicate the dog's nose. I will present some scientific stats that highlight what the dog's nose can do. I'm going to talk about how I got into scent work, and I'm going to talk about the definition of scent work and nose work, how you can get involved, and the history of it. I'm going to talk about training methodologies that are used and how I train scent work. I'm going to talk about online training, how I train scent work online and how it's different from in-person training. I will cover what supplies you will need. There are, things that you will need to purchase, and there are different setups that you will need to have available to you, and I will go over all of that. I will talk about my 2021 class schedule and how you can sign up. And at the end, I will open it up to questions, and we will answer as many questions as we can with time permitting. At the end, I'm going to have a raffle. This will be a random draw. For everyone who signed up, I put your name into a jar, and I will have a random raffle for 2 t-shirts, but you must be here to win. So let's get started. Let me talk about my dog training and nose work experience. I'm a certified IACP dog trainer, and I have over 25 years of dog training experience. I'm a certified K9 scent work instructor, where I have 10 years of teaching experience and competitive experience. I'm a K9 scent work instructor for the San Lorenzo Dog Training Club, and I've been doing this for the past 2 years. I'm an AKC scent work provisional judge. Currently, I am running 4 weekly classes at the San Lorenzo Dog Training Club and 3 online classes. Unfortunately, my in-person classes have been temporarily shut down because of COVID. We hope to resume classes sometime in probably February or March. I'm competing in AKC and NACSW with my Beagle buddy. And these are my Beagle's titles. He has an AKC master title and 1 leg in detective. He has an Elite 1 title in NACSW and a variety of other element titles. And in sniffing dog sports, he has an excellent title and a 90% Iron Dog qualifier. Unfortunately, this organization has gone out of existence. This is my story, and this is how I got involved in canine scent work.
My interest in canine nose work started in 2011 when I adopted a beagle named Audrey. She came from an owner who did nothing with her and just kept her alone in his backyard. As a result, she came to me with a lot of behavior problems that needed sorting out. Because of my dog training experience, I was able to turn her around rather quickly, and she developed into a well-behaved dog. I was able to use her in my dog training business as a demo dog. Here is Audrey in one of my Walnut Creek downtown classes with other class dogs. Because of her breed and her love of tracking and sniffing, I wanted to find an activity that fit her natural instincts. I started doing some research and found a nose work teacher nearby and started doing weekly private lessons. She took to it immediately and I got hooked. Within 6 months, we passed our NACSW ORT and soon entered our first NACSW NW1 trial. We didn't pass in our first effort, but got at least 50% of the hides. We did, however, pass on our second effort. In the process, I learned a lot about training my dog, but wanted to educate myself more so that I could teach others. In 2013, I completed a 2-week nose work instructor class and got certified as a nose work instructor. Early in 2013, I was confronted with the bad news that Audrey had lymphoma. She had started chemo treatments, and we continued to train without a problem. We even tried a couple of NW2s without success. But even while being treated, she continued to be enthusiastic about training and competing. We thought we had beaten the cancer. Late in 2013, the treatment stopped working. The cancer returned in a vengeance. In early 2014, she started declining. My wife and I had to make the hard decision that it was time. I started the grieving process and could not face losing her in my life. I went on the internet, not really thinking of getting another dog, but there I found a beagle that was a spitting image of Audrey. He was up for adoption from NorCal Beagle Rescue. Impulsively, I contacted them and made an appointment to meet him that night. My wife came home that night and she started talking to me about a beagle she saw on the internet that was up for adoption. I said, "Do you mean Dover?" In absolute surprise, she pulled out a picture of him, and I said excitedly, "Yes, that's him, and I'm going to meet him tonight." I took Audrey with me to meet Dover, and all went very well. She liked him and gave me her approval. Dover came home with us that night. We renamed Dover to Buddy, and he was a really good companion for Audrey in her last days. Here's a video of them the night he came home. Buddy was 3 years old when I adopted him. He had a family that lost their home and couldn't take him to their new apartment. They had originally adopted him from a research lab in Emeryville at 9 months of age. 2 weeks after adopting Buddy, unfortunately, Audrey passed. I started basic obedience training with Buddy because he didn't seem to know anything. It took me forever to teach him a sit. I worked on basic commands like sit, down, stay, leave it, and come. He was very compliant, but also very stubborn at times. He would just freeze and not move. He was being a typical beagle. I decided to get started on training him in nose work immediately. At the time, I was teaching nose work classes in San Leandro. Buddy started showing a lot of promise and was a quick start. Within 6 months of training, we passed our NACSW ORT and got our NW1 title on our first try. 8 months later, we got our NW2 on our first try and finished our NW3 Elite title in 2018. Today, Buddy is working to earn his NACSW Elite 2 title and his Akc Scent Work Detective title. Unfortunately, the pandemic has slowed up our progress. We continue to train several times a week, and at age 9, he seems to be getting stronger. Well, that's my story and how I got involved in K9 scent work. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for listening.
Steve is a very effective online instructor. He has kept the class size small enough that he can give prompt and personal feedback. Moxie is learning quickly, and so am I. I would not hesitate to take a course from him again, either online or in person.
So next, I'm going to talk about the dog's incredible nose and what an incredible instrument it is. Yes, they are teaching dogs to sniff out COVID. Dogs have an incredible olfactory system. It's way more sophisticated than humans. Dogs can detect over 1 million scents and humans only 1,000. Dogs have between 125 million to 300 million olfactory receptors compared to humans who have only 5 million. The dog's nose is 100,000 to 1 million times more sensitive than the human nose. Dogs have a brilliant memory for odors. They can easily learn to react to at least 10 different odors, some dogs more. They can retain these odors in memory for a very long time. Dogs that are systematically trained with certain odors develop more olfactory receptors for these odors, thereby increase their sensitivity. So through training, you can increase your dog's sensitivity to certain odors that you're training on. Here's an example. A dog trained to find the feces of a San Joaquin kit fox continued to react to this odor 671 days after its last exposure. That's almost 2 years later. Not all dogs are equal in terms of olfactory receptors, but all dogs can do scent work. This is just an example. Bloodhounds have approximately 300 million olfactory cells. German Shepherd and Labs, approximately 220 million olfactory cells. Other dogs in this group might be Golden Retriever, Australian Shepherd, Malinois, Springer Spaniel, and so forth. Fox Terrier, approximately 147 million olfactory cells. A Dachshund, 125 million olfactory cells. Now, number of olfactory cells does not correlate to success in competition. So I have seen more Labs do well. Australian Shepherds do better than Bloodhounds. I have even seen English Bulldog in AKC competing and getting titles. So just because your dog is on the lower part of the scale does not mean it can't, it can't be successful in competition. Here's an example of a dog's incredible sense of smell. Just imagine that on a beach, 1,500 feet long by 150 feet wide and 40 inches deep, a dog could find 2 grains of sand that smelled different from the rest of the beach. In scientific terms, that's 1 part per quintillion. Next, I want to talk about the definition of scent work or canine nose work. Canine scent work mimics the work of professional canines. Manhunting, disease detection, airport screening, bomb sniffing, avalanche patrol, search and rescue, and drug detection. Those dogs do much more than this. Another example would be bed bug detection. And maybe nerd sniffing. What is canine scent work? Canine scent work, also called canine nose work, is a dog sport created to mimic professional detection dog tasks. In the sport of canine scent work, 1 dog and 1 handler form a team. The dog must find a hidden target and alert the handler that he has found it. The training methodology is basically the same for a professional detection dog and a pet dog competing in the sport of canine scent work. Why do scent work with your dog? Well, sniffing is a very stimulating thing for your dog. It engages his or her natural instincts. Searching for food or game is exciting and fun for your dog. Sniffing and searching is great exercise for your dog's brain, and it can have a calming effect for overreactive dogs. It relieves stress and boredom, and it's a fun game for you and your dog. Here are some fun things you can do with your dog. Find a toy or treat. Find a person. If you have children, this is a great game. Have your kids hide in a closet, have them hide behind the couch, under the bed, have your dog go out and find them. This can be a great way to spend some of the pandemic time. Great fun for your kids, great fun for your dog. Find your cell phone, very useful. Find your car keys, even more useful. Or find almost anything that you want. There are right now 2 major competitive scent work organizations: NACSW, the National Association of Canine Scent Work, and Akc Scent Work. NACSW has been around the longest. They're really the original organization that started all of this. Their first competition started in 2009. Akc has just recently started. They were founded in 2018, but since their founding, they have, they're growing rapidly. And I have been actually doing more competitions in Akc than I have in NACSW. Let me talk about the 2 organizations, how they're similar and how they're different. NACSW, the National Association of Canine Scent Work, they do only odor searches. They use 3 essential oils: birch, anise, and clove. Those are the odors that the dog is looking for. And they use 4 search elements: containers, interior, exterior, and vehicle. In Akc Scent Work, they have 2 divisions. They have an odor division and they have a handler discrimination division. In the odor division, they use 4 essential oils. They use birch, anise, clove, and cypress. And in the odor division, the elements that the dog is searching are containers, interior, exterior, and buried. In the handler discrimination division, the target odor is the handler's odor. So that's the major differences. The similarities are that they use pretty much the same odors. Here's an example of a competition that I did with sniffing dog sports, and this was an excellent trial and interior. So this gives you an idea of what a competition looks like. So here, I didn't let Buddy go up those stairs because I had a feeling that he blew by what we call a threshold. Yes, and there it was, a threshold hide, which he does typically. So we're going up into the interior part of the search. So he goes right to the second hide. Now in excellent SDS, there are 3 known hides. And so far we have gotten 2. We only need 1 more. And it looks like we're on it right here. Yeah, you can see he's not, I'm pulling on the leash and he's not coming off it. So I know that that's it. And I call finish. Here's an example of an Akc Detective Trial that we just did recently in October. But he got his first detective leg here and a first place. Now, in detective, you can have 5 to 10 hides. The judge gave us 12 minutes for this particular search. You can have, the judge can give you anywhere between 5 and 15 minutes. So you notice I've taken Buddy off leash here because he's a very independent searcher. And he actually searches better when he's on his own and me trying not to give him instructions. And here he finds the first hide. Always takes off a little bit of pressure getting the first one. Again, I don't know how many hides are here. It can be anywhere between 5 and 10. It has to be at least 5, and it can't be more than 10. So you see, I'm letting him search the whole perimeter. He missed that corner there. I don't like that, but probably nothing there. And he's gone through the whole perimeter. I'm not certain that there's not something else on the perimeter. And now he's coming into the interior. Chairs and tables are always prime suspect spots. Now he's slowing up a little bit, so I want to get him a little more engaged. As it seems like odor is not flowing through this room very well. If there's a lot of hides in here, he's not acting like it.
Hey, bud, down here, bud.
Okay, you see I wanted to get him re-engaged here. He's doing a lot of non-productive sniffing. I want him to go over to that table along the wall because he really blew by that. And yeah, I'm going to let him do it on his own because I really suspect there's something on that table or something near the table. And yes, I was right. But that's still, we still have a lot of time, but that's a lot of time spent and only 2 hides. So I'm getting a little nervous right at this point. I wanted him to go the other direction. He wanted to go that direction. I let him because he may be being drawn to scent. And here, it looks like that little bracket there, I suspect maybe something in those chairs, but I'm not sure. And so he left it. I'm going to come back to it. I suspect there might be something there. And he wants to go out, and I don't want him to go out yet. And I call him back, and I got lucky. He went right to a scent that's in that, that metal threshold there. Okay, still we only have 3.
Here.
I'm going to come back to that room
Bud,
later.
just wait.
I want him to go all the way back to the beginning because I got a feeling he blew a threshold hide, which it's very typical of him to do. He wants to rush into the search area. And right here, I was right. He's on something.
Alert.
And there. So we have 4 hides. We got a lot more to go. I want him to go down the outside wall now. Might be something there. I'm not sure. He left it. We'll come back. You got to remember that where he's shown interest, I need to come back to. Okay. Now we're going to go down this long deck way. And it looks like he's in odor, but he needs to show me a little bit better here.
Where?
Okay.
Alert?
Yeah, there. Okay. 5 hides. Okay, so that's the minimum number that we can have. But in all the, oops, there he goes. That I would have missed if I had called him. Okay, 6 hides.
Okay, come on.
We still have a lot more searching
bud.
to do,
Bud.
and we still have
Come on.
plenty of time. Okay, so I
Bud, over
really
here.
want to
Hey.
go
Come on. Up here.
down this wall.
Come on.
And there were a couple of places there that he showed interest, that he went by. So I want to approach it from a different angle. I mean, different approach way. And looks like something might be here. And he's sniffing around. Something's there. Scent is either coming down from that pole or from that wall. He's on to some odor, but I'm not sure exactly where it is. He needs to sort it out.
Hey, bud, check over here.
See that cross there in
Alert?
the cement? I don't know if you can see it, but it was in a cut in the cement. I would have never thought to look there. Okay, so now I'm going to go back inside and do one more
You got that?
round
Bud, come here.
of that
Bud.
exterior
Come.
of the perimeter.
You, come on. Come. You got that. Got that. One more check.
Last time he just went right there, that bracketing, something's there. And I suspect that it's a high hide. And right there, when you looked up to the Venetian blinds, okay, and we have 8 hides. I'm suspecting that we may have everything, but I want to recheck those chairs and I want to recheck that far corner, which he never checked.
Come here, bud. Bud.
He wants to go back to the last hide he found. And he smells that hide at that threshold there. Now, coming up to these chairs, remember he showed a little bracket here. Okay, he showed nothing, so I'm feeling comfortable there's nothing there. He never went to this corner. If there was something in that corner, he would have reacted. So now I call finish.
Finish? Yes. Yes? Oh my God, finally. Finally, after...
Okay, so that was my first detective leg, and we also got a first place. Next, I want to cover the training methodology used in canine scent work and how I train scent work. The first step, this is what I do. Not all trainers do this, but a lot of trainers do. I would say 50-50. I use an odor cocktail. That is, when I start training a dog, I train the dog on all the scents that I'm going to use in competition. So if I'm competing in AKC, I introduce the dog to birch, anise, clove, and cypress all at once. The dog can actually separate these scents in their nose. They don't smell a concomitant of the odors. They smell each individual odor. They smell birch, anise, clove, and cypress. I would say it's like us smelling a pizza compared to a dog comparing, smelling a pizza. The dog smells all the separate items, the pepperoni, the cheese, the olives, the onions, the sauce. When we smell it, we just smell a pizza. When the dog smells it, it smells all the different ingredients. That's the same as what happens with the odor cocktail. So let me show you how we prepare a cocktail.
In this video, I'm going to show you how to make an odor cocktail for scent work training. The kit I am using is from K9NWSource.com. It has all the necessary supplies for a beginning handler and dog. It is inexpensive and portable. It contains all 4 of the scents used by AKC scent work competition and includes 2 odor tins and a variety of scent vessels to hide Q-tips in. Using tweezers, I am putting 1 Q-tip each of birch, anise, clove, and cypress into an odor tin. I first start odor training using a mix of odors, commonly called a cocktail. The mix uses all the scents that AKC uses in their competitions: birch, anise, clove, and cypress. These are essential oils that are placed onto the Q-tips. When we train a dog on a cocktail of odors, the dog learns to identify all the odors. Later in training, once the dog reliably identifies the cocktail odor, we start separating the odors into individual odors such as birch only. We then take this tin and place it into one of our boxes that we will be using in our novice scent work training.
Okay, let's go on to step 2. I call this discovery. I place the odor tin and a treat into a box with the lid open. I bring the dog up to the box, and when he sticks his head into the box to get the treat, I click and then throw another treat into the box. I repeat this step multiple times. When the dog is driving to the box on his own, then I move to the next step. Step 3 is search. We add a few more boxes at a time until you have a row of 6. We move the box with the odor tin and treat. We don't move the tin to different boxes. We move the box and the tin. We keep them together because we do not want to contaminate the other boxes. We want to keep the other boxes clean. Step 4, we fade the treat. Fading means we take the treat away from the odor. We remove the treat from the odor box and we have the tin only. When the dog sticks his head into the box with the odor, we click and throw another treat into the box. When the dog starts showing that it's going to the odor box on its own and sticking his nose into it, then it's time to move to step 5. Step 5, odor recognition. Once the dog is reliably identifying the box with the odor, then we start closing the boxes. Before closing the odor box totally, we close it gradually until it's closed completely. Remember, these steps are gradual, and if the dog is having problems, we always return to the previous step that was successful. So I'm showing everything here in compressed time. It really takes time over weeks and sometimes even a month. Okay, step 6, odor knowledge. We close all the boxes. We add a second scent box. When the dog is 98% correct in identifying odor boxes, then it is time to move to step 7. Step 7, we develop an alert response. And by that, I mean we get a down, a sit, focus stare, or other, or all of these, depending on what kind of hide it is. I like using a down for a low hide. I like for a medium height, I like a sit. For a high hide, I like my dog going up on its paws and looking up. I also use the focus stare at times. Step 8, we proof our odor knowledge. Here is where we separate the cocktail into individual odors. We add new challenges, new objects, new environments, and distractions. We return to basics periodically to test our foundation. Step 9, we extend searches from boxes to other objects and environments, new types of containers, baggage, exteriors, vehicles, interiors, distractions, and other people in the search area. When you're in competition, your dog needs to be able to work with a judge, a gate steward, and possibly spectators, and not be distracted by them. I'm going to show you an example of an AKC excellent exterior search that Buddy did, I can't remember exactly when, a couple years ago. In excellent AKC exterior, there are 3 known hides. The judge sets the time. It can be anywhere between 2 and 5 minutes, depending on how large the search area is. Where you see those little cones there, that's marking the boundary of the search area. So you can see I don't want him to go outside of that. And it looks like he's on some scent right here. He's going up and down that pole, and that definitely was right there. He put his nose probably right on the scent. Okay, so we have 2. We only need 1 more. And I'm looking out, and he's actually taking me. I'm not taking him there. He's taking me. He knows there's scent there. He got that scent all the way back when he started running. And that's it, and a finish. And we got our excellent exterior title that day.
My golden Jackie and I have been enrolled in Steve's online handler discrimination class for the past month and are thoroughly enjoying it. That the practice sessions take place in the comfort of my home is a real plus. He is a great teacher, patient, clear, and supportive.
Next, I'm going to cover how I train online and give you some examples of lesson plans and videos. Here's an outline of my 7-week novice scent work class. Lesson 1, the introduction. We're getting ready for moving on into scent work. I start with a touch box and place. Lesson 2, I introduce boxes and the odor cocktail and pairing. Lesson 3, I begin fading the paired treat. Lesson 4 is the beginning of odor recognition. Lesson 5, odor recognition and searching. Lesson 6, we separate the odors, birch, anise, clove, and cypress, and we start using closed boxes. Lesson 7, we review where we are and where we go next. This is how classes are run online. The course consists of 7 Zoom meetings, 6 lessons, and a wrap-up. Meetings will be separated, maybe spread out over 7 to 10 weeks. There will be a 2-week gap between lesson 1 and lesson 2. This gives people time to get all their supplies and to get situated. Time gaps between Zoom meetings will be determined by students' progress, holidays, and my scent work competition schedule. This is how classes will be run. Each week you will be sent a Zoom link to join the class at a particular time. The classes will run approximately 1 hour. At the Zoom meeting, lessons will be presented with live narration and videos of your last week's training assignments. At Zoom meetings, we will discuss and critique last week's training assignments, address training issues, and how to correct them. Students' next training lessons will be presented with a video example and written instructions. If you can't attend a Zoom meeting, there will be a link to a recorded Zoom lesson and a slide presentation. You will be able to review these lessons at any time during the length of the course. This is an example of written instructions for lesson 2, assignment 1. Mix 1 Q-tip each of birch, anise, clove, and cypress. Put all 4 Q-tips into a tin. Place 6 boxes in a straight line, all open. Put 1 odor tin and a treat into 1 designated box. Let the dog take a treat from the odor box, click, then throw another treat into the box. Training run configurations with odor and paired treat in 2, 5, 3, 1, 4, 6. Move odor box and not the tin. Here's an example of a lesson video. And here is an example of a student video. The students upload their videos weekly onto a Facebook group.
Yes, good boy. Find more. Yes, good find. Good boy. Yay!
And here's another example.
Kitty friendly. Good. And you're kitty friendly. Good. Okay.
I am not new to online dog training, and have taken both in-person and online scent work classes from Steve. His lessons are well organized, precise and easy to follow. I would recommend Steve for anyone who wants to learn scent work.
Next, I'm going to talk about what supplies you will need to participate in an online class. For odor scent work, you're going to need an odor kit and tins. There are a variety of them available on the internet. They range in price, from $25 to up to $80 plus. You're going to need 20 cardboard boxes. They can be gotten, you can get them from uline.com or amazon.com. And I prefer the white literature mailer boxes. You're going to need a lot of treats, soft and avoid hard treats, so that we want the dog to be able to consume them quickly. A clicker, a harness. I recommend a couple of harnesses, Julius K9 and Comfort Flex. You'll need a video camera or smartphone, a tripod or someone to videotape you while you're doing your assignments. And then you'll need to join a Facebook group for uploading your videos. For handler discrimination, everything is the same, except you're going to need white gloves, and you'll need a second type of box, a corrugated box, and that you can get those at Walmart. So let me talk about my class schedule and sign up. This is my 2021 schedule. I'll give you a chance here to take a screenshot if you would like. If you would like a copy of this, I can send you a PDF. Just email me, steve@k9sniffers.com, and I'll be happy to send you a PDF of this. Or you can send me a chat and with your email address, and I will send you the PDF. And how do you sign up? You can send me an email, steve@k9sniffers.com, specifying which class you would like to sign up for. I will email you sign-up forms and how you can pay. And there is an early enrollment discount. There's also a discount for continuing students and for members of the San Lorenzo Dog Training Club. So let's move to our Q&A. I see that we have a couple of questions that have already come in. Erdian, what is 98% correct? Good question. That's when the dog, let's say you have, you're running the dog 10 times and the dog gets it correct at least 8 to 9 times. This is through your training sessions. So you sort of have to either count, the correct responses or just get a sense or a feeling about when your dog is at that level. I hope that that answers your question. I'm not sure if it does. And from Dana, what do you do about a dog that stomps on the boxes? Okay, I've had this happen a lot. I've got quite a few dogs that do this. There are a couple of ways of solving this, and that is to teach your dog to put their nose on a box and not their paws. What you do is you just take a box that doesn't have any odor or treats in it, have the dog come up to the box, touch, click, and treat. Touch with their nose, click, and treat. If the dog continues to smash boxes and whatever, you stop the training session and put the dog up. And so hopefully they'll learn when you do that, that the game stops and it's not any fun anymore. So, but I start with having the dog touch the box with their nose, click, and treat. And it has, you know, I do this outside of the actual odor search. I do it separately. So teach your dog just to touch the box, click, and treat. Is there a minimum age for your dog before starting this training? This is from Cassandra. My puppy is 6 months old. Well, the minimum age is, I'm NACSW, the minimum age for competing is 1 year. And with AKC, you know, I forgot actually, it's either 6 months or 1 year, but people start training actually before 6 months. So 6 months is an appropriate age to start training. From Kathy, how far is it possible to go in terms of training online? In other words, is there a time when an in-person class becomes necessary? And if so, at what point? Well, that's a very good question. I don't think I can really answer that. I think you could totally train a dog online. Having in person though is very, very helpful. Having a mix of them is probably the best combination. So it depends, you know, what's available to you. If the in-person is not available, then you would have to do everything online. You can get online consultations by sending in videos of how your training is going and get feedback, you know, from your trainer. I would prefer to, you know, to do both, but it's not available to everybody to do both. So it really depends. It is possible to do all online, and it depends on, you know, who your teacher is and what kind of personal attention you can get. All right. I got another one here. Let's see. What time of the, okay, here is from Molly. Oh, wait, just 1 second here. From Molly, I have 2 rescue bloodhounds. One is currently a foster. Ours is a 3-year-old female, and the foster is a 1-year-old male. Can we train both at the same time, or do we need to do separate training? No, you can do both dogs at the same time. If you do both dogs at the same time, the second dog gets a half-price discount. But yes, I've had people do multiple dogs. I would try not to do more than 2. It just makes your homework assignments much more difficult. Okay, so yes, you can do multiple dogs. And Curtis, would you recommend novice scent work or handler scent work for a person who just wants to have fun with this activity? Well, if you don't want to go into competition, I would say handler scent work would probably be the most fun for you. You know, I get this question a lot. Which one should I start with? I'd say it's really up to you. I would start either one, but in your case, if you're not going to do competition, I would do handler scent work. What time of the day? This is from Molly. What time of the day are the classes? They're at 7 p.m. in the evening. And from Dawn, is it possible to train a dog without food treats and use toy? Good question. Yes, it is. I prefer using treats, but you know, if the dog is really high drive for a ball or a tug toy, they can also be used. In professional scent work dogs, they oftentimes use toys, like with the Malinois and the German Shepherds. But the problem with the toys is that it takes a longer time to reward the dog. And if you have a dog that won't release the then it really takes up a lot of search time in order to deal with the, you know, the give and take of getting the toy back. So yes, people do use toys. For a really high drive dog, toys can be better than food, but for about 90% of the dogs, food works best. Does this type of, let me see here, okay. From Molly, does this type of training also help with the dog listening to everyday commands? For instance, do you think this type of training will help with my dog listening to commands while we are walking on leash or hiking on leash? No, I don't think so. It does, though, help in terms of the dog's, I think, attitude or demeanor. It does help reduce anxiety, and it doing this kind of training, I don't think helps with general obedience, but it does help in terms of you know, listening to you, being a team member, and in that way. But in terms of leash walking, coming, whatever, no, I don't think that it contributes to that. But it does contribute to the overall well-being of the dog, because you're stimulating the dog's brain, you're giving the dog some exciting things to do, expressing his natural, sniffing instincts, and these are all very, satisfying to the dog. So, in that way, it's helpful. Okay, let me see here. All right, I think I missed some questions up here. I'm going back up here. Okay, so for Lynn, what is your next class time? I don't think I can do a start date of 1/19, as the dog I wanted to train still has a litter of pups. I don't have a date yet for that, but I will get a date. And I have, since you signed up for this webinar, I have your name. I will let people know when classes are coming up. You can also go to my website, www.k9sniffers.com, and I will continue to update that. Okay, I hope that answers your question. Does my dog need to have formal basic training to do well? Absolutely not. The dog, this is not an obedience-oriented type of exercise. In fact, we don't use obedience in this. We want the dog to be independently searching, and we try to stay away from any kinds of obedience commands. So it's a different kind of sport. It's not obedience related. If I hide my kid, should I put the cocktail on him? No, you don't need to. Your dog will understand what they're doing in terms of finding the kid's odor. You're not going to be using, scent with your kid. So no, you don't need anything. You don't need treats, or just use your kid. The dog will learn very quickly. It's very satisfying, all the praise that he gets when he does find the kid. You could also give him some treats when he finds your child. Okay, let me go down. Let's see here. All right, I'm sorry, okay, I'm trying not to miss people here. Okay, Kathy, since I am in Southern California, if I eventually do in-person classes someplace locally, will there be an issue with your training methods versus another trainers? Can you speak to any potential issues with this? Most likely not. The dog basically learning online, they're learning to identify the odor, they're learning search, and they're learning how to alert. So the training methods basically don't differ that much. The major differences in terms of the way people train are how they present the odor. Some trainers present odor separately. They start with birch, move to anise, clove, and then cypress. So the only differences would be, whether or not a cocktail was presented or individual odors. The other difference might be what kind of alert responses are taught. So no, I don't see any problems with how I teach, or if you go to another teacher later on. Here's from Don. Will handler discrimination classes prepare one dogs for AKC tracking? Yes, they would. Okay, here's from Matthew. Is there any alternative for odor kits? Can I use other types of items to be useful in training, for example, for like hot dog or garlic? I'm not sure what you're saying. Well, let's see. I guess you're saying, can I use other things other than birch, anise, clove, cypress? Yes, you could, but if you were going, if you're not going to go into competition and you're just doing this for fun, you could use any odor that you wanted your dog to find. But if you're going into competition, that would not be helpful. Okay. This is from Lynn. In AKC competition, are all odors in a test, or is a test focused on just one odor in the beginning? Yes, in novice, both in NACSW and AKC, the one odor they use in novice is birch. When you move to the next level, both in NACSW and AKC, they use birch, anise, and or a combination of the two. When you move to the next level in excellent AKC, they use 3 scents, birch, anise, and clove. When you move to master level, they use birch, anise, clove, and cypress, and the same in detective. So that they also use, when you move up into the different levels, they use combinations also. After competing your basic class, will we be ready to compete in novice AKC? After competing one class, no, you would not be ready to compete. So it takes at least 6 months of training or more before you could enter into a novice level competition. Okay, so here's a question. My 6-month-old puppy will start obedience classes in February. Can I start scent work after that? Yes, you could start it at any time. You could do it simultaneously with the obedience class. So let's move on to our raffle. Well, actually, before then, I want to do just an exit poll with everyone. And so if you could just take a second to answer these few questions, and then we'll move to the raffle. Okay, I'll give you a few minutes to answer these. This will help me with my planning in terms of my classes. I think we've got 91% of you have filled it out. So why don't we move on? And these are the results. So it looks like a majority, people want to sign up, and day of week. Interesting. Wednesdays. And all right. Okay. So let's move to our raffle. Okay, these are the 2 t-shirts that I have available. And I'm going to pull names out of this jar here. Let me. All right. Okay. So let's see who the lucky winner will be. And you have to be here to win. Molly Akc, is she here? Yeah. And so just send me a chat to tell me that you're here. It looks like you have, yeah, Molly Akc. Yes, she's here. Okay, so Molly, just send me your address. Tell me which t-shirt you would like, gray or red. What size? Unfortunately, I have 2 sizes. Sorry about that. I have medium and I have large. Tell me if you want gray or red and send me your address. You can send it to me. It would be safer to send it to me on email, steve@k9sniffers.com. Okay, let me pull the second name. All right. And it is Pamela Beard or Beard. And are you here? Just send me a chat to let me know if you're here. Okay, I'm gonna pull another name. And Kelly Fouts, are you here? Send me a chat to let me know if you're here. Okay. Gone. Try one more. Hopefully we'll get one on this round. All right, we'll try one more. Kathy Espluto. Not sure how to pronounce that. Kathy, are you here? Kathy's here. We got 2 winners. Okay, again. All right, so send me your address, color, gray, red. Send it to me by email and also size medium or large. Okay. All right, everybody. I want to thank you for attending my second webinar. I will stay in touch in terms of what I have coming up online. And I, again, thank you for attending. Thank you very much and goodbye.